Captain Olivia Martinez rubbed her tired eyes as she reviewed the departure checklist on her tablet. The Stellar Horizon had been docked at Outpost 7 for nearly 3 days, taking on supplies and completing minor repairs before the long journey back to Earth. The neutral space station served as a crucial waypoint for ships of all factions, a rare place where humans and aliens could trade freely. "Captain, we've got a situation at the main airlock." First Officer Eric Daniels' voice crackled through her comm unit. Martinez sighed. "Define situation, Daniels." "There's an alien delegation demanding immediate boarding. Claims diplomatic priority." Martinez frowned. Outpost 7 had strict protocols about last-minute passenger additions. "Which species are we talking about?" "Thraxian, ma'am. And not just any Thraxian. They're saying it's Princess Zora Kvex herself." Martinez nearly dropped her tablet. The Thraxian Empire maintained an uneasy neutrality with Earth. They weren't enemies, but they weren't allies either. Having Thraxian royalty on a human cargo vessel was unprecedented. "I'm on my way. Don't let them board until I get there." When Martinez arrived at the airlock, she was greeted by the sight of a tall, slender figure with iridescent blue skin. The Thraxian princess stood nearly 7 feet tall, her elaborate headdress adding another foot to her imposing height. Behind her, 3 attendants waited silently, surrounded by ornate luggage containers. "Captain Martinez," the princess said, her translator device giving her voice a metallic quality. "I require immediate passage to Earth on your vessel." Martinez straightened her uniform jacket. "Your Highness, I'm afraid that's not possible without proper clearance. We're a cargo ship, not a diplomatic transport." "I am aware of your vessel's classification," Princess Zora replied coolly. "Nevertheless, circumstances require me to travel to Earth immediately, and your ship is departing soonest. We don't have suitable accommodations for—" "You will make accommodations suitable," the princess interrupted. "This is not a request, Captain. It is a royal directive." Martinez felt her face flush. "With all due respect, Your Highness, royal directives from the Thraxian Empire don't apply to Earth Alliance vessels." The princess's 4 eyes narrowed simultaneously. "Perhaps your superiors would be interested to know that the Martinez refused assistance to Thraxian royalty. I imagine such a diplomatic slight might affect the pending trade negotiations between our peoples." Martinez glanced at Daniels, who gave a subtle shrug. The trade negotiations were critical. Earth needed access to Thraxian mineral deposits. "We depart in 2 hours, Martinez finally said. "We can convert Cargo Bay 3 for your use, but it will be basic accommodations at best." "Acceptable." Princess Zara nodded, her expression unreadable. "My attendants will require quarters as well." "Chief Engineer Powell," Martinez called into her comm. "Report to Cargo Bay 3 immediately. We're making some last-minute adjustments." As the princess and her entourage moved past, Martinez couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to this request than a simple journey to Earth. The princess moved with the confidence of someone accustomed to getting her way, but there was something in her posture, a tension that suggested urgency beyond mere royal privilege. "What do you make of this?" Daniels asked quietly as they watched the Thraxians disappear down the corridor. "I don't know," Martinez admitted, "but I have a feeling our routine cargo run just got a lot more complicated." Little did she know just how prophetic those words would prove to be. Chief Engineer Sam Powell stared at the mountain of luggage being hauled into Cargo Bay 3 and wondered if he was having a nightmare. What had once been an organized storage area now resembled a bizarre alien yard sale. "Your Highness, we simply don't have room for all this," Powell explained, trying to keep his voice respectful despite his growing frustration. Princess Zara flicked 2 of her 4 eyes toward him, while the other pair continued examining the cargo bay. "These are my essential items only, Engineer. I've already left behind 80% of my standard travel collection." Powell ran a hand through his short brown hair. "Essential. There are 17 trunks here." 18, corrected one of the princess's attendants, a stern-faced Thraxian with ceremonial markings across his blue forehead. The royal bath salts require their own container. Communications Officer Diane Collins entered the cargo bay and immediately assessed the situation. With years of experience handling delicate diplomatic exchanges, Collins stepped forward with a practiced smile. "Princess Zora, perhaps I could explain some of our ship protocols to help make your journey more comfortable," Collins offered. The princess tilted her head, sending ripples through the liquid gems embedded in her headdress. "Proceed." "Our ship operates on a 24-hour Earth cycle. Meal times are at 700, 1300, and 1900 hours in the common mess hall. Water usage is restricted to 5 minutes per person for conservation purposes, and—" "Unacceptable," Princess Zora interrupted. "Thraxian royalty requires the dawn ritual bathing ceremony each morning, lasting no less than 42 of your minutes. As for meals, I will consume nutrition at times dictated by the imperial biological schedule." Collins exchanged a look with Powell. "We'll try to accommodate your needs, Your Highness." "You will not try, you will succeed." The princess gestured to her attendants. "Additionally, my ceremonial guards must perform the chant of protection at 3-hour intervals." "Chant?" Powell asked. "The sacred harmony creates a barrier against spiritual contamination," explained the smallest attendant, whose voice was surprisingly deep. "It must be performed at full vocal capacity." Powell imagined the complaints from crew members trying to sleep through alien ceremonial chanting. "Captain Martins will need to approve any activities that might disrupt ship operations." Later that day, ship Dr. Liam Garcia found himself facing another unexpected challenge. Princess Zora had reported to the medical bay complaining of discomfort. "Your atmosphere filtration is inadequate," she stated. "I require additional nitrogen and trace elements in my breathing environment." Garcia consulted his database on Thraxian biology. "Your species can tolerate Earth's standard atmosphere for extended periods." "Common Thraxians, yes. Royal bloodlines have more refined physiological needs." Garcia suppressed a sigh. "I'll see what I can do, Your Highness." Throughout the ship, similar scenes played out. Navigator Jake Wilson discovered the princess insisting on reviewing their plotted course. Security Chief Maya Rodriguez found one of the royal attendants attempting to access restricted areas, claiming they needed to harmonize the energies of the ship. By evening, Captain Martinez called an emergency staff meeting in her private quarters. "Tell me honestly," she asked her gathered senior officers, "how bad is it?" The princess demanded we rearrange the crew quarters layout because it violates some royal feng shui principle, Powell reported. "Her attendants are constantly watching everything and everyone," Rodriguez added. "They claim it's protocol, but it feels more like surveillance." Martinez nodded grimly. "We're only 6 hours into this journey. We have 11 days until we reach Earth. Let's hope things improve once everyone settles in." From the look on her officers' faces, no one believed that would happen. Security Chief Maya Rodriguez had spent 15 years in Earth Alliance security forces before joining the Stellar Horizon. She knew suspicious behavior when she saw it. The way the princess's attendants moved through the ship, always watching, always documenting, didn't match typical bodyguard patterns. "Computer, replay corridor surveillance from Section 6. Time index 300 to 400, Rodriguez instructed. The screen flickered to life, showing the tall, muscular attendant that Princess Zora called Drex moving silently through the cargo areas, examining access panels with what appeared to be scanning equipment. Rodriguez tapped her comm badge. "Captain, we need to talk." Meanwhile, on the bridge, Navigator Jake Wilson noticed something unusual in the communication logs. "Captain Martinez," he called out, "I'm detecting encrypted transmissions being sent from within our ship." Martinez frowned. "Source: the signal's bouncing through multiple relays, but it's originating from Cargo Bay 3, the princess's quarters." Martinez's day was getting worse by the hour. Between Rodriguez's concerns and now these mysterious transmissions, her patience with their royal guest was wearing thin. She made her way to the princess's makeshift quarters, prepared for another difficult conversation. The cargo bay had been transformed. Somehow, the Thraxians had rearranged the space with hanging fabrics, portable lighting units, and strange crystalline structures that hummed with subtle energy. Princess Zora sat on what appeared to be a hovering cushion, drinking something that emitted purple steam. "Your Highness, we need to talk," Martinez began firmly. "Captain," the princess acknowledged with a slight nod. "Is there a problem?" "Several. Actually, your attendants are accessing restricted areas, and you're sending unauthorized communications from my ship. I want an explanation, now." For a moment, the princess's royal facade slipped. Her shoulders drooped slightly, and her lower eyes blinked rapidly, a sign of stress in Thraxians that Martinez recognized from her xenobiology training. "Captain, what I tell you must remain between us," Princess Zora said, her voice losing its imperious tone. "I am not merely traveling to Earth for diplomatic reasons. I am fleeing." "Fleeing what?" "An arranged marriage to Prince Krozak of the Vexillian Empire. It would seal an alliance that would devastate several neutral worlds, including some that trade with Earth." Martinez crossed her arms. "So you're seeking political asylum. That's something you should have mentioned before boarding." "It's more complicated than that," the princess replied. "My father doesn't know I've left. Officially, I'm on a spiritual retreat. If word reaches him that I've fled to Earth space—" "You've put my ship and crew at risk without our knowledge or consent," Martinez said, anger edging into her voice. "I had no choice. The marriage ceremony is in 14 days. Once completed, the military alliance activates, and 3 neutral systems fall under Vexillian control." Before Martinez could respond, Rodriguez's voice came through her comm. "Captain, long-range scanners are picking up 3 vessels on an intercept course. They're running with Thraxian registry, but military configuration." Martinez fixed the princess with a hard stare. "More things you forgot to mention." Princess Zora stood, her full height impressive even without the royal posture. "Captain, those ships are not sent by my father. They're Vexillian ships using stolen Thraxian identifiers. They're here for me. And why would they want you so badly?" Martinez demanded. The princess hesitated. "Because I carry something they want even more than my hand in marriage." Martinez realized the simple passenger transport she had reluctantly agreed to was now something far more dangerous. "You'd better tell me everything, Your Highness. Right now." "Evasive maneuvers. Pattern Delta 6. Captain Martinez barked as she rushed onto the bridge. The stellar horizon shuddered as Navigator Jake Wilson executed the command, sending the cargo ship into a steep dive relative to their previous course. 3 Thraxian military vessels maintaining pursuit, Captain, Wilson reported, his fingers dancing across the navigation console. "They're faster than we are. Intercept in 22 minutes at current speeds." Martinez turned to Communications Officer Diane Collins. "Any response to our hails?" Collins shook her head. "They're receiving but not answering. The only transmission they've sent is automated. Return stolen royal property or face immediate consequences." "Stolen property," Martinez muttered. "That's one way to describe a princess." First Officer Eric Daniels leaned closer to Martinez. "Captain, we're a cargo vessel. We're not equipped for a confrontation with military ships." Martinez knew he was right. The stellar horizon carried basic defensive shields and 2-point defense turrets, enough to discourage pirates, not engage warships. She pressed her comm badge. "Princess Zora, report to the bridge immediately." 5 minutes later, the Thraxian Royal swept onto the bridge with 2 of her attendants following closely behind. Despite the crisis, she maintained her regal bearing. "Your friends are catching up," Martinez said, gesturing toward the tactical display. "They are not my friends," the princess replied, her eyes fixed on the approaching ships. "Those are Vexillian hunters. They want what I carry." "Which is what, exactly?" Martinez demanded. Princess Zora hesitated, then nodded to her taller attendant. He removed a crystalline object from inside his ceremonial armor and presented it to her. The object was roughly the size of a human fist, glowing with shifting internal lights. "This is a quantum data crystal," the princess explained. "It contains the terms for a peace treaty that would end the conflict between the Thraxian Empire and the Earth Alliance, terms my father has secretly agreed to." A stunned silence fell over the bridge. "The Vixilians want to prevent this alliance," Princess Zora continued. "They've infiltrated parts of my father's court. If I don't reach Earth with this crystal, the opportunity for peace will be lost for generations." Martine studied the princess's face, looking for deception but finding none. "Why didn't you tell me this from the beginning? Would you have believed me, or would you have assumed it was a trap?" Before Martinez could answer, the ship lurched violently. "Long-range weapons fire," Security Chief Rodriguez called out. "Shields at 84%. Chief Engineer Sam Powell's voice came through the comm system. "Captain, these cargo shields won't hold against sustained military fire." Princess Zora stepped forward. "Captain Martinez, I may have a solution. My personal technology might help enhance your ship's capabilities." "What technology?" Martins asked suspiciously. "The crystal doesn't just contain diplomatic data. It also holds advanced Thraxian engineering specs, including shield modulation patterns that could confuse their targeting systems." Martinez exchanged looks with Daniels. This could be genuine help or another deception. "Another hit like that will cripple our engines," Rodriguez warned as the tactical display showed the pursuing ships gaining ground. "Powell, Martinez called to engineering. The princess has some tech that might help. I'm sending her and her attendant down. If this works, I'll want the full truth," Martinez told the princess quietly. "And you shall have it," Princess Zora replied. As the princess left for engineering, Martinez returned to the captain's chair. "Wilson, set course for the Brenner Nebula. If we're going to play this game, let's find a place where we have some advantage." The stellar horizon banked sharply, engines straining as it raced toward the distant cloud of cosmic dust and gas. Behind them, the Vixilian ships adjusted course, weapons charging for another volley. "They're closing fast," Rodriguez reported grimly. Martins gripped the arms of her chair. "Let's hope the princess knows what she's doing." Chief Engineer Sam Powell watched with a mixture of fascination and suspicion as Princess Zora and her attendant connected the glowing crystal to the stellar horizon's main engineering console. The crystal pulsed with internal light, sending tendrils of energy through the ship's systems. "What exactly is that thing doing to my ship?" Powell asked, hands hovering protectively near the override controls. "The quantum data crystal contains more than information," Princess Zora explained as her long blue fingers manipulated the interface. "It's semi-sentient technology that can adapt and enhance compatible systems." The engineering bay's lights flickered, then stabilized at a brighter intensity. Status displays that had been showing warning indicators suddenly shifted to optimal levels. Shield capacity increased by 63%, the attendant reported. Engine efficiency improving. Powell checked his own readings. "This is impossible. You're somehow routing power through pathways that don't exist in our design specs." "Not impossible," the princess replied. "Just beyond your current technology." The ship shuddered as another blast from the pursuing vessels struck them. Even with the enhanced shields, the impact was significant. "Captain, what's our status?" Powell called through the comm. "2 Vixilian warships still on our tail," Martins responded. "The third is circling to cut off our path to the nebula. Whatever you're doing down there, do it faster." As Powell and the princess worked to stabilize the new systems, the door to engineering slid open. Ship's AI specialist, Nora Franklin, rushed in, her expression alarmed. "The computer core is showing unauthorized access," Franklin announced. "Something's injecting new code throughout our systems." Princess Zora straightened to her full height. "Not unauthorized. I am upgrading your defensive capabilities. Without permission," Franklin countered. "How do we know this isn't sabotage?" The princess's attendant moved subtly, positioning himself between Franklin and the crystal. The tension in the room thickened. "Stand down, Krell," the princess ordered her attendant. Then, turning to Franklin and Powell, "I understand your concern. I haven't been entirely forthcoming." "That's putting it mildly," Powell muttered. The princess touched the crystal, which responded by projecting a holographic display showing detailed schematics of both the stellar horizon and the pursuing vessels. "My attendants are not merely ceremonial guards. They are Thraxian special intelligence operatives," she admitted. "I am not just royalty, but the keeper of our empire's most classified technologies and diplomatic initiatives." Franklin's eyes widened as she studied the holographic data. "You're their equivalent of a high-level military intelligence officer." "With royal bloodline access," Princess Zora confirmed. "The traditional title is Keeper of the Horizon. Ironic, given your ship's name." Powell's comm unit suddenly activated. "Engineering, something's happening with the ships behind us," came Martinez's voice. "They're transmitting on all frequencies." The holographic display shifted to show the communication. A Vexillian commander appeared, his scale-covered face filling the screen. "Human vessel," the commander growled. "You harbor a thief and traitor. The female aboard your ship has stolen vital security secrets from the joint Thraxian-Vexillian alliance. Return her and the data crystal immediately." Princess Zora touched the crystal again, and the communication feed cut off. "Lies," she said firmly. "The Vexillians plan to use stolen Thraxian technology to attack Earth colonies. The crystal contains proof of their intentions, along with my father's offer of alliance with Earth against them." "Why all the deception?" Powell demanded. "Why not just tell us this from the beginning?" "Because," the princess said quietly, "there is a traitor in my father's court. I couldn't know if Earth's diplomatic channels were compromised. I needed to reach your leaders directly, with evidence that couldn't be denied." Franklin's console beeped urgently. "Something's attempting to hack our systems from the outside," she reported. "It's sophisticated, beyond normal Vexillian capabilities. The sabotage has begun," Princess Zora said grimly. "If they can't take me by force, they'll try to destroy us all." A thunderous explosion rocked the stellar horizon, sending crew members sprawling across the deck. Red emergency lights bathed the corridors as damage reports flooded in from all sections. "Direct hit to our port engine assembly," Rodriguez reported from her security station. "Shields failed in that sector just before impact." Captain Martinez steadied herself against her command chair. "Powell, status report." In engineering, smoke filled the air as Powell and his team rushed to contain the damage. Princess Zora stood nearby, her royal garments discarded in favor of practical coveralls borrowed from a crew member. She no longer looked like alien royalty, just another person fighting to survive. "Main power conduits are fried," Captain Powell reported. "We're running on backups." The crystal's connection was disrupted by the blast. "Can we restore shields?" Martins asked. "Not without reconnecting the crystal to the main power grid," Powell replied. "But that section is heavily damaged." Princess Zora stepped forward. "I can help. My people designed these systems." Powell looked skeptical. "With all due respect, Your Highness, I thought princesses didn't do manual repairs." "I am more than my title, Engineer Powell," she replied, grabbing a toolkit. "Before I was chosen as Keeper of the Horizon, I trained in quantum mechanics. Now, will you help me save this ship, or shall I do it alone?" Powell nodded, newfound respect in his eyes. "Lead the way." Together they crawled into the damaged maintenance shaft, working side by side as the ship trembled under another distant impact. On the bridge, Martinez watched the tactical display with growing concern. 2 Vexillian ships maintained a pursuit course, while the third circled to block their escape route. "Wilson, any chance we can reach that asteroid field?" Martinez pointed to a dense cluster on the navigation display. "Maybe," Wilson answered, hands dancing across controls. "But in our damaged state, navigating those rocks would be extremely risky. Riskier than facing 3 warships with failing shields." Martins countered. Wilson nodded grimly. Setting course for the asteroid field. If we time it right, we might lose them in there. In the damage section, Princess Zora and Powell worked frantically to reconnect the crystal to the ship's systems. The princess's attendant Krell had joined them, his strength proving useful in moving damaged equipment. Your people and mine have more in common than I realized, Princess Zora said as she spliced together complex circuitry. How so? Powell asked, wiping sweat from his brow. We are both stubborn, practical, and remarkably inventive under pressure, she replied with a small smile. Diplomats spend years discussing what ordinary people can accomplish in moments of crisis. A shower of sparks erupted as the crystal reconnected to the power grid. The lights throughout the ship stabilized, and the hum of the engines grew stronger. Power levels rising, Powell reported to the bridge. Shields coming back online at 70% capacity. Martins allowed herself a brief moment of relief. Well done. Get back to the bridge. Both of you. We're heading into the asteroid field. When Princess Zora arrived on the bridge, Martins barely recognized her. Gone was the haughty royal with impossible demands. In her place stood a determined ally, her face streaked with grease, her posture alert and ready. Your ship performs admirably despite its age, Princess Zora observed, standing beside Martinez's chair. She's tough, Martins agreed. Like her crew. The princess nodded. I misjudged you, Captain. I thought humans would be simpler to manipulate. I see now that was a mistake. A costly one, Martins said, but not fatal for either of us. As the stellar horizon approached the asteroid field, the princess studied the tactical display. Your navigator is plotting a dangerous course. It's our best option, Martins replied. Not quite. Princess Zora said, stepping to the navigation console. With your permission. After a moment's hesitation, Martinez nodded. Wilson, let her access the controls. The princess's fingers moved with surprising speed, making subtle adjustments to their trajectory. There is a resonance pattern in this asteroid field. If we match our shield harmonics to it, we can pass through with minimal damage, while the Vexillian ships will be forced to slow considerably. As the first asteroids loomed ahead, Martinez made her decision. Wilson, follow her course. All hands, brace for asteroid field entry. The stellar horizon plunged into the swirling rocks, damaged but determined, human and Thraxian working together against a common enemy. The stellar horizon emerged from the asteroid field with scars across its hull but its crew intact. Behind them, only one Vexillian ship had managed to navigate the treacherous path, and it kept a cautious distance as Earth Alliance patrol ships appeared on the long-range scanners. Earth Defense Force responding to our distress call, Communications Officer Diane Collins announced, relief evident in her voice. 3 patrol cruisers on intercept course. ETA 12 minutes. Captain Martinez stood at the viewport, watching as the blue-green sphere of Earth grew larger. She turned to find Princess Zora standing beside her, the Thraxian's eyes reflecting the light of humanity's homeworld. It's beautiful, the princess said quietly. I've seen images, but they don't capture the reality. Most things worth fighting for are like that, Martins replied. You can describe them, but you have to experience them to understand. The bridge crew worked efficiently around them, the shared danger of the past days, having forged a unity that transcended species. First Officer Daniels approached, tablet in hand. Earth Defense Command is requesting details about our diplomatic passenger, he reported. Martinez glanced at the princess. Time to make it official, Your Highness. Princess Zora nodded and straightened her posture. Despite wearing borrowed crew clothing, she suddenly looked every inch the royal diplomat. I formally request asylum and diplomatic recognition, she stated clearly. I come bearing my father's proposal for alliance between the Thraxian Empire and Earth. As the Earth patrol ships surrounded them, providing escort through the final approach to the orbital station, Martinez called the crew to the main cargo bay. The The space that had once been Princess Zora's makeshift royal quarters now served as an assembly area for the entire ship's complement. "I want to thank you all," Martinez began, looking at the faces of her crew. "What started as a routine cargo run became something that may change the course of interstellar relations. Each of you performed beyond expectations." She gestured to Princess Zora, who stepped forward holding the crystal. "The princess has something to say before we dock. When I boarded your ship," Zora began, "I saw you as simple transportation, means to an end. I was wrong." She paused, looking at the gathered humans. "My people have a saying. Truth emerges in the fire of crisis. These past days have shown me the true character of humanity. You are resourceful, brave, and surprisingly adaptable." She held up the crystal. "This contains not just a peace treaty, but an offer of technology exchange. As thanks for your service, I am adding a personal recommendation that the Stellar Horizon and her crew be designated as the official diplomatic transport for future Thraxian-Earth relations." Murmurs of surprise rippled through the crew. "And what about you, Your Highness?" Chief Engineer Powell asked. "Will you return to Thraxia once the treaty is delivered?" The princess smiled, an expression the crew had rarely seen on her face. "My father has agreed that I should remain as cultural ambassador to Earth. It seems my difficult personality might be better suited to forging new paths than following old ones." Captain Martinez laughed. "I can think of no better representative." As the Stellar Horizon docked at Earth Orbital Station 1, news of their arrival spread quickly. What had begun with an imperious princess demanding passage had evolved into the beginning of a historic alliance between two civilizations. Martinez watched as Earth diplomats boarded to welcome Princess Zora, the formal proceedings already underway. Beside her, Security Chief Rodriguez smiled. "Not bad for a simple cargo run, Captain." "No," Martinez agreed, watching as human and Thraxian officials shook hands. "Not bad at all." In the days that followed, the crew of the Stellar Horizon found themselves celebrated as accidental diplomats. The ship was scheduled for a complete refit, transforming the cargo vessel into a proper diplomatic transport. And though Princess Zora remained as demanding as ever in her new role as ambassador, those who had served with her on that fateful journey recognized the friendship beneath her royal manner, a bond forged in crisis and built to last.